Guys, Intel plans to lay off 25% of their workforce this year. Huge move. This was just announced in the Q2 earnings report, and AI is the driver of this. I don't know what to tell you. AI is transforming every industry, every person at every level. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to what the CEO Lip-Bu Tan says. He says, "We are laser focused on strengthening our core product portfolio and our AI roadmap to better serve customers." The reality is that AI turns everybody into a superhero. It's unbelievable what is possible with AI. And, listen, Intel's not the only one. All the big tech companies are doing this because they recognize that getting people back in the office, this remote work, this bloat, not leveraging AI effectively is killing their profit margins and killing the efficiency of their development. In any event, Intel is trying to save themselves because they've fallen woefully behind Nvidia in the chips manufacturing. And if you're not familiar with Intel, that's basically what they do. They're a very large semiconductor manufacturing company, which quite frankly, during this boom of semiconductor manufacturing here in the United States, I don't know why they're not able to make some sort of deal or combine forces with the US government. We talked about this the other day. I'll put a link to this video up here. But we talked about the US government's AI action plan, and they're, going hard on bringing manufacturing in the United States. So I don't know why Intel can't be a recipient of some of the opportunities there, but perhaps that's what they're focused on. If you make sure to subscribe, I'll keep you posted as that evolves. In any event, there's a lot of stuff happening. Intel is planning to shut down its automotive business, end their remote work policies, and retreat from several projects in several countries, including Germany, Poland, Costa Rica, amongst a few. They're consolidating, they're streamlining, they're getting lean. And again, you're talking 25% of the workforce. It's about 24,000 people that are on the job, that are on the line here. And it's already started, guys. They already laid off 5,000 this past year, not even this past year, since late 2024. They've already laid off 5,000 people. They're focusing on, again, this is a press release from Intel. Last month, they announced they were going to be really streamlining their auto production plants or their auto chips plants in Oregon. Oregon got crushed, guys. Oregon is getting crushed right now. And Intel released a press release last month that said, "We are refocusing on our core client and data center portfolio to strengthen our product offerings and meet the needs of customers, yada, yada, yada." AKA, we're bloated, we're not using enough AI, people don't want to come back to the office, so we gotta clean it up, is basically what they're saying here. So I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in Oregon, because I think it's pretty interesting. So the problem here is that they shut down their auto business, which resulted in loss of jobs for thousands, okay? And let's talk about who's affected. Mid-level engineers, technicians who will need reskilling for emerging fields like AI or advanced manufacturing. But here's the problem. You want to go find another job. All the big tech companies are laying people off. So now you're stuck in this job hunt where you're having to compete against all these thousands, tens of thousands of people that are trying to compete for the same jobs as you. And I'll give you my opinion on how best to handle this. And this, by the way, I'll cover this at the end of the video. But if you're being laid off, if you're afraid of being laid off, there are steps that you can take to remain relevant in the workplace. And I'll give you my opinion on that. You can take it or leave it. You can feel free to flame me in the comments. I don't mind. And by the way, I recognize that this concept of layoffs and AI taking jobs is very personal to a lot of people. And I also realize that there's a lot of nuance. You start talking about global macroeconomic markets and what big tech is doing and what governments are doing. It's a nuanced issue, and I'm definitely open. And by the way, if you leave a very good, very informed comment in the comments, I will pin you. I've done it in the past. I will do it in the future, because this is a place where we're here to learn, grow, and again, stay relevant. Because listen, as men, we need to learn this AI stuff. If we get replaced by a robot, our wife's not going to be able to look at us the same way. And one of the main ways that men feel loved is through respect. And are you going to feel respected if you're replaced by a robot or a coder or an AI coder? No, you're not. You got to stay relevant. You have to be able to provide for your family. If you're not able to provide, you're not going to feel respected, and that's going to lead to the downfall of many, many, many men, which is what I'm trying to solve here. That's what we're trying to solve together through this project here on YouTube and in the AI Update newsletter. Okay, so anyway, all these guys are getting laid off from Oregon, guys and girls too, of course. But what's interesting to me about this, and one of the things that I've seen in the comments quite frequently, is that a lot of companies are not just laying off mid-level guys, they're laying off entry-level newbies. So as an entry-level newbie, like you're fresh out of college, you're an intern, you're particularly susceptible to AI because an expert or someone who's higher up in the company or someone who has more experience is going to be able to use AI to become hyper efficient. So they're not going to need you to write that junk code for them. They can use AI to write the code, and then they can troubleshoot it more quickly because they have a better understanding of the database, the architecture of the software platforms, and et cetera, et cetera. So what else are they doing? And this hits me. I come from a marketing background. I do fractional CMO work now. I have a few clients that are grandfathered into my creative marketing agency. But Intel told their marketing employees, this is last month, Intel told their marketing employees that they're gonna outsource to a marketing firm called Accenture. They're like, we're done. And by the way, Accenture, what's their claim to fame? It's artificial intelligence. They're an AI-powered marketing agency. So Intel's like, guys, we think that AI can do it better than you. That is exactly what they're saying. We're outsourcing to Accenture. We are going to leverage them and their AI, which is going to trigger more layoffs. Again, that's going to be part of this, assumedly. This is going to be part of the 24,000 layoffs because they're going to be outsourcing. And their plan here, and what Accenture does, is they automate lots of routine tasks like lead scoring, email campaigns, chatbot interactions, et cetera, et cetera. And listen, there's two sides to this coin. One of the problems that you'll have with AI when it comes to the marketing world is it's very robotic. It doesn't have that emotional connection. It feels soulless at times. But there's just a lot of stuff that AI is really good at. It can track and make and give detailed, complex, analytical reports based on massive data sets, massive amounts of data. So this is a major issue in the marketing world. There's a lot of people that just kind of look at the surface level. Well, I can write an email better than AI. But what you don't recognize is that AI can automate a lot of those routine tasks away, and it can review insanely large data sets and make assumptions, hypotheses, test them, and then you, as the expert, no longer need a team to be doing that. You can do it by yourself and leverage the AI to make these sorts of reports and assumptions, and then as an expert, you can kind of test them and put that God-given brain to work. And again, this is not just Intel that's doing this. This is part of a huge trend. This year, over 130,000 tech workers have been laid off globally. It's actually averaging about 620 tech workers are fired every day. 627 to be exact. But anyway, you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of tech workers being laid off every day. That is not going to stop, guys. That's not going to stop. In fact, I talked about this just the other day. Microsoft is laid off 10% of their workforce. Check out this video. You are going to be shocked by what Microsoft has done and what they're going to continue to do, guys. It's the reality. And I don't want to go too deep in this because if you're watching this, you're almost assuredly a pretty smart person. You're pretty intelligent. You understand the ramifications that, well, if we're laying off hundreds, if not thousands of employees every day, that's going to have other ramifications because these people aren't going to have money. They're not going to be able to go out and buy cars. They're not going to be able to buy homes. They're not going to be going on vacation. And then it starts this domino effect throughout the economy where people can't afford to buy things, which mean other businesses go out of business. And so, again, this is something that is absolutely terrifying to me. And if you're a man and a provider to a family, this should be something that you're concerned about as well. Because again, Microsoft, 15,000 cuts, TCS, 12,000 cuts, Meta, Google, IBM, Amazon. I recorded another video about this. I'm gonna share a link here. Amazon has laid off hundreds and hundreds of employees. In fact, and man, people got angry when I recorded that video. Hundreds of employees have been laid off by Amazon in their AWS cloud services. But it just, guys, it goes on and on and on. The world is changing so dramatically. You cannot afford to sit on the sidelines and be stagnant. This is not the time to be watching Netflix. This is the time to read, to practice, to play. And let's talk a little bit more about the solutions and how I'm kind of tackling this problem for myself and for viewers, the way that I would tackle this. So the first thing is you absolutely must upskill. We must upskill. We need to learn these new tools. We need to try new tools. We need to test the new tools. We need to be playing with new sorts of AI innovations. And I know a lot of guys out there, this is probably the most common complaint. I get a lot of nasty comments, guys. But, as I explained in my newsletter today, I'm not going to stop speaking the truth. I'm not going to stop doing the research. I'm not going to stop pouring into men because you're scared of what might happen. This is the truth, guys. AI is tremendously powerful, and it does have weaknesses. They will get better. They will be improved. They will not be perfect. They will require humans that are wielding them. But if you're not a human that's wielding them, you are unemployable. Like when I put out a job position for one of my companies, if I get on an interview with someone, or if they answer an interview question within the likes of, well, I don't use AI, I ask everyone, how would you use AI to do your job better? And if they say something like, I don't use AI, I don't know, you are not hireable. You're just not. I won't hire you. It's not possible. It's not possible because I've tasted it. I've used it. I do use it. I keep testing it. It's crazy what's possible when you start using AI to streamline your operations. So don't come to me and say that it's not possible. It is. And I mean, listen, I just run a small business. These big corporations see it at a much larger scale, so they understand exactly what's happening. And you can blame it on whatever you like, but you're going to be blaming it all the way to the unemployment line. And I don't want to see you there. I really don't. So upskill, play. And this is another thing I think that is, at least I predict, is that we're moving away from a jobs-based economy and moving more into a value projects-based economy, at least over the short term. Okay, long term, I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but I do know that we're going to need to continue to upskill and learn new skills because things are going to move very quickly over the next 5 years, 10 years, 1 year. Things are going to move very, very quickly. So what do I mean by projects-based economy? Well, what I mean is that you, at least in my opinion, I want to be involved. I'll just tell it in the first person. I want to be involved in multiple projects that I have some stake in. And I want to be taking a lot of small risks because AI allows you to do that. It allows you to move quickly and take small risks. I'm taking small risks across lots of different projects. And then when I find a project that works, I'm going to double, triple, quadruple down. Okay? So we're taking risks across multiple projects and we're waiting for something to pop off. That doesn't mean like buying some crazy meme coin, by the way, guys. This is not financial advice, but I wouldn't advise buying a meme coin in order to stay financially free. What I am doing is, again, working on multiple projects with great people and looking for projects that are going to pop. And then once we have an exit, then we have a big financial boom. All right, so that's one way of doing it. The other thing that I think, if you're working within an organization, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, is to try to make yourself obsolete. Okay, and there was a really great comment the other day in one of these posts about somebody that did this, and I think this is the perfect approach. Within your organization, you use AI and automation to essentially remove yourself from the entire process. Okay, now why would you want to do that, Mark? Why would I want to solve problems so well that I'm not even needed anymore? Well, here's why. Because if your existing employer sees, holy crap, Jim just saved me 95% on this particular process, I don't actually need him anymore, but if he can do it here, what if I moved him over to this department? I wonder what he could do over there. you become invaluable because you are a profit center, and well, not necessarily well, you are a profit center because you're reducing the cost so tremendously that you're creating more profits for the company. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, the flip side is that your boss might say, you know what, Jim, I don't even know what to do with you anymore. Because you've solved the problem so well, I don't need you anymore. And then again, you could say, hey, I could do this over here. Or you get fired and then you go on the job market and it's going to be competitive, but now you can go into these other companies with receipts. I'm sure your boss would be more than happy to write you a letter of recommendation saying, listen, Jim is awesome. He solved this huge problem. He saved us thousands of dollars, but I just don't have a place for him anymore. However, if you hire him, he could probably do the same thing within your organization. So again, you can move into another job more quickly and then solve another problem there, leverage those results to become more and more in demand in the marketplace. Also, quick side note, back to this project-based economy. If you're able to solve a problem like that for one company, the chances are that solution could be applied to other companies as well. So there's a possibility you can productize it, build it out into some sort of software or solution or consulting, and then you could turn that into a windfall of cash. Well, you could actually turn yourself from an employee to an employer. All right, so that's another perspective. And don't get me wrong, entrepreneurship's not for everyone. It's very stressful. There's ups, there's downs. However, I think that we need to stop thinking of ourselves, at least I think that it's prudent to stop thinking of yourself as an employee and start thinking of yourself as a brand, as a business, because the chances are there's going to be massive shifts in your market and in your job over the coming months. And then, listen, you want to be public about this stuff, guys. Don't just sit and be quiet about, oh, this is what I'm doing. You want to be public. You want to let people know that these are the problems that you're solving. And that doesn't mean that you need to hire a creative marketing firm like mine or anything like that. No, but find a social media platform that you enjoy and just share your results on those platforms. And by the way, don't go on lots of platforms, just go on one platform. Maybe two. Like, my professional advice, if you were really wanting to be public and build your personal brand, is one place for long form, one place for short form. Okay, but at the very least, you want to be public on at least one platform about the problems you're solving and how relevant you are, because that is going to build up your equity and your value in the marketplace, so that when projects, when clients, when customers come along, when employers come along, you're going to be able to stand out amongst the crowd. These are the things that I would say. And listen, I appreciate you being here and subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to me. I want to pour into you. It's my joy to get on camera and talk about what's happening in these marketplaces on YouTube. It is, I really, really love it. It's a lot of fun. And quite frankly, I think my wife is happy about it too, because now I'm not just talking to her about AI all day because she doesn't care. In any event, thanks for being here. And if you like this video, I think you're really going to like yesterday's video, where I talk about this idea that AI is a scam. I just don't understand it. There's so many men out there who are saying that AI is a scam. And I dive deep into it. There's a lot of hateful comments in there. So if you feel like give me some positive love, please do. But I'll share the link to the video here. And I think it's a really important conversation, because AI is not a scam. It is real. And the last thing you should do is be afraid of it. You have to adapt it, because it's coming, guys. All right, see you in the next video. Peace.